have somebody with the crazy idea, takes that crazy idea, turns it into a prototype, the difference between crowds and the swarms. Here we have the football hooligans, and obviously that's not a swarm but a crowd. And then we have people like those children in India using the one laptop per child, which is a great example of a creative swarm. The difference, crowds, all about motivation. They are motivated by money, power, glory. Here is an example of some people chasing money which was thrown out of the window. That's obviously a crowd. And on the other hand, here we have swarms. It's all about love or intrinsic motivation. So that's really the key difference. Picture of the face surgeons doing the first face transplant somewhere at MGH. If you have open source people, if you have Wikipedians, if you have Linux programmers, they also care about some extrinsic motivational factors. The question now is, how do those intrinsically motivated swarms operate? Tim Berners-Lee, the creator of the World Wide Web, came to my table. Nobody knew who he was, and he asked me whether I could allow him to put up some flyers describing his system called the World Wide Web. The reason being that he had submitted the paper, which was turned down because A, nobody thought that this system would ever succeed, and B, it had no scientific value whatsoever. However, Tim didn't care. He only was totally obsessed with his idea. So he had printed out a suitcase full of papers describing the World Wide Web and was trying to recruit a little group of people to work with him on turning his labor of love, the World Wide Web, into a real product. And he had figured out that the ASIM Hypertext Conference was the perfect place because this is postdocs like myself and graduate students that have time to do crazy projects. And he tried to recruit me also, but I turned him down. I thought it would never succeed, and it had not any value whatsoever. However, my boss, and it was actually not David Tenenhaus, it was David Clark, was smarter than me, and he invited him to come to MIT. Tim did not get an office. The first weeks he only had a desk in the hallway, and a very old and clunky computer. He didn't care. He was sending out emails to everybody, trying to recruit others to work with him, and he succeeded in convincing the boss of my boss, Michael Tertullius, who was the director of the Lab of Computer Science at that time, to start the World Wide Web Consortium, and that's the next bigger group of people that take this product, try it out, and polish it until it gets really useful. And in the case of the World Wide Web Consortium, that was sponsored by companies, so Michael Tertullius was leveraging his connections, and Tim had done something other, quite smart. He had this figured out that it's better to be a little fish in a big pond than a big fish in a little pond. And that's why he had left Switzerland behind and came to MIT. And over time, we got Mosaic, Netscape. I was also at Netscape where there were like 15 people. The point is, this four-step process: creative, crazy idea, obsessed with his idea, recruiting a little group of intrinsically motivated people that turns the crazy idea into a first prototype, then getting the bigger group, which I call the collaborative learning network. And there is something called Dunbar's number, which says that we can only manage about 150 people. So normally my learning network is about plus minus 150. The interest network, that's the bigger group, the friends and family of the learning network, that makes this a real product and spread the word to the rest of the world. This four-step process, for me, that's how all disruptive innovation happens. If you want to know how you can create them, what we have developed is a very simple framework of 6 variables that you can track based on global level, Twitter, Facebook, Wikipedia. Organizational level, we look at email networks, and interpersonal level, we are working with Sandy Pendleton, who is a professor at the Media Lab, who has developed something called source-symmetric branches that people wear around their necks. They measure whether we face each other, how close we are, whether my energy level is going up or down, and whether I let you speak